every single day.
Okay. Hello guys, it's Taurus Unibrami again. I trust you guys are doing very well. Thank you so much for joining me in my little corner here on YouTube, where I share all things skincare, makeup, or whatever is going on my mind and of that time. So today we're going to be having one of those conversations. As you can see from the title, this is a conversation that I think we need to have as a society. And by the way, thank you so much for all the feedback and the comments that you guys left in my last chit chat video. I'm going to put that up there. And this topic was inspired by the recent BBCAfrica investigative expose on the issue of sex for grades taking place in some West African colleges / universities. A journalist named Kiki Mordi, she went undercover with some girls where they were able to bring to light the prevalent issue of lecturers abusing their power by demanding certain female students give them sexual favors for either admission or for better grades. This is an issue that has been taking place for as long as I have been alive. Sexual harassment takes place in every single society. It doesn't matter where you are. Circumstances might be different, but it's the same thing. It could be in the church, it could be at the mosque, it could be at the office, it could be taking place in your college or university. In this instance, this has been taking place in the universities back home in Nigeria. What made me want to speak on this is because it's something I have personally experienced. We all know what sexual harassment is, and in today's world of Time's Up, Me Too, I think the day of reckoning is upon us. I think we as Nigerians, as Africans, we need to come to terms with these issues. They are uncomfortable topics that I think we need to Time's Up. But so I think it started, this awareness, this awakening started with Busola Dakolo, where she gave an interview with Why Naija, and she shared her story of her being allegedly being sexually assaulted by pastor. That issue is still ongoing. There are still some back and forth going on, and I'm not going to talk about that. But the issue of sexual assault and abuse of power has been taking place and is still taking place in our various institutes of higher education. I've had stories of, and I think the documentary also alluded to this as well, of girls being passed around from one lecturer to another before they could even move to either the next grade or the next level, or to actually graduate. I think Kiki even mentioned that she had to drop out of school because she couldn't deal with it anymore. It is that bad. So to further buttress the point, I'm going to describe to you two incidents that happened, that A, I witnessed, and B, that actually happened to me. Our group dynamic when I was in college or university is that, like, there were 5 or 6 of us who we lived together, we hung out together, we always did things together. This particular lecturer just took a liking to her. He would always pick on her. The guy would always ask her to come to his office at a very odd time, maybe at about 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. when there were no classes, mind you. When school was over, everyone was either going back to the dorms or going home. That was when he would ask her to come to his office, and she would always insist that she went, and she would always ask us, demand that, okay, this guy wants me to come to his office, we are all going together. We all knew what exactly he wanted because of the statements he would make to her when you would see us walking around on campus. All those times that we would always go to the guy's office with her, and you could see the look of, he would always look upset every time we walk into his office and he sees the crew, like 5 or 6 of us, like, okay, 5 girls. That I think one of those times that when we came to his office, he would say, he actually said, I told you to come by yourself, why are you coming did you have to come with your friends, or why couldn't you come alone? And she would say, and she would always feel like, I don't know what's going on. Like, she would always say, sir, time for us to go home, we have to go back to the dorms. They just want to make sure that we are, she would always insist that, sir, we are all going home right now. They just wanted to come with me so we could wrap this up quickly and we could start heading home. That happened when I was in my senior year, like 400 level. This lecturer all of a sudden realized that I was in this department and I was in the faculty, and all of a sudden it just started paying more attention to me, especially when we would go for exams or when we would go for tests. And I had gone to school that afternoon and to submit my final thesis, or I think I had gone to school that afternoon to have a conversation with the lecturer who was sort of overseeing my final thesis, my project for my final year. And I was just in the department, I was about to go out, I was about to leave, and he comes out of his office and he calls me, like he calls my name and he tells me to come to his office. From the way the conversation was going, I was already getting very, very uncomfortable, because this guy now started coming on to the lecturer now started coming on to me and saying things that, oh, I didn't notice that you were this good looking, how come you've been in this department for all these years and I have not seen you, I've not noticed you. I was already uncomfortable. I was already uncomfortable, and I was looking to leave because I was uncomfortable, and I was angry at myself, because usually I should have done what my other girl had done and come with the crew. But unfortunately, this guy caught me at a weak moment. This guy called me to his office and he now started asking me out on a date, that we should go out to have drinks, and I just did what my girl did. I just started feeling innocent, like I didn't understand what was going on. I started saying things such as, I'm sorry, my parents don't allow me to leave the house at a certain time, my parents are very strict, I don't understand what you're saying, so I'll go out to where that. And after a while, the guy just got bored and like, okay, just go, and told me to leave his office. I was so lucky that I had taken his class the semester before, so I wouldn't have to depend on being in his good books to make it through that semester. This was my final semester. As I said, I was in 400 level, I was a senior. This was the final semester. I had to pass all of my classes in order to graduate. So I was very, very lucky that I didn't have to depend on being in his good books to actually graduate. That was how I was able to skirt out of that scenario. But I know that certain girls are not that lucky. Some don't have anywhere to turn to. Some have to just bite the bullet, sleep with these men, and just move on to either the next grade or to graduate. Some girls are in that. Some girls are not that. Some girls can do it, some girls cannot do it, and I'm not going to blame any girl who is in that situation, because I know how daunting and how uncomfortable it is. What are we talking about here? We're talking about people who have the power, have so much power at their fingertips. They can pretty much do whatever they like. I'm very happy that BBC aired that documentary. It was uncomfortable to watch, because I have been in those situations. I know people who have been in those situations. I don't want that for I don't pray to be in that situation again. I'm reading comments, in reading articles, in watching videos after BBC had aired this expose. I came across two comments that really bothered me. Okay, the first one was someone saying something to the like of, girls also offer themselves to the lecturers to get better grades or to graduate. Okay, and if that is as a lecturer, if you feel, then that makes it okay. You are in a position of power. You should know. You are the adults. You should know better, and you should be able to say, I'm sorry, young lady, if you cannot do the work to get a better grade, I'm sorry, what, please, I'm not going to take what you're offering. What is wrong with saying no? You don't have that, you don't have that much control of yourself to say no, that you're willing to take what she's offering to give her a better grade. What does that say about you as a professional lecturer? What does that say? The second comment that I read was someone said, oh, but why did BBC air that documentary? Are they trying to ruin the lives of the men? Okay. And my counter argument to that notion is, how about the young girls who have killed themselves? How about the young girls who have dropped out of school? How about the girls who have found themselves in an uncomfortable no-win situation, that they have to bring themselves to sleep with these men or to have relationships with these men in order to pass, in order to go through the next grade? Their lives don't mean anything. Their lives don't mean crap. And funny enough, this is the same argument when you find people that have suffered from rape, people that have suffered from sexual assault, people that this is why they don't want to come out, is because of statements like that. Or, why did she wait so long to come out? Why did she wait so long to say anything? What does it matter? She said something now. Let's deal with the issue at hand now. Let's talk about it now. It's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to talk about it. Let's talk about it now. I think is most painful in all this is that you find other women saying this as well. I found in the Busola Dakolo situation, all the comments that were, most of the comments that were on the male side, on the pastor side, were all from women, saying things like, oh, but what was she wearing? Oh, she was asking for it. Oh, she shouldn't have tempted the man of God. And in this case, in this sex for grades case, I have found women saying things like, what was she wearing to school to make the men, the lecturer, pay attention to her? It doesn't matter what you are wearing. They're still going to target you. You can be wearing sack and they will still pay attention to you and they will still target you. It doesn't matter. I feel where the onus is, or where the solution is that we women need to stick together. There should be a committee of female lecturers in this institute of higher learning that should have an open door policy, or an open door policy to listen. They should listen to these girls when these issues are brought up. I'll give an example. Barbara has been propositioned by her psychology lecturer for sex for a better grade, she can always walk up to Mrs. Thatcher's office and tell her that, and explain to her what exactly has happened, and Miss Thatcher can now talk to the male lecturer and ask him to stop. And if it still continues, then Miss Thatcher can always take it to the dean or to the head of the faculty. Something, at least action has to be taken, and these lecturers have to be reprimanded. Okay, now I think one thing that I find very, very encouraging in all this is that now that there's a spotlight on these issues, and now things are being done to try and curb it. And I don't think we should be quiet about this. Things will go quiet in a while, but we shouldn't stay quiet. We should be vigilant. And I'm encouraged by the fact that such respected women such as Adeswa Oyenikwe, she is now pretty much speaking truth to power. She's now going to these places like the churches, like the universities, and now asking these questions, such as what can be done to fix these issues, what can be done, what is being done, because our students are vulnerable. And this is not an issue about the government. I think we as women, we have to stick together. if a lecturer calls you to his office, you go with a friend. I'm not trying to suggest an easy fix to this, but something has to be done. And I think it starts with we women, our mothers, our aunties, our female lecturers. If your daughter comes up to you and tells you that she's being harassed by a lecturer, I don't think it's too much to ask to go to the school and demand to speak to the dean or demand to speak to the lecturer to find out what exactly is going on or why this lecturer is disturbing your child. I don't think that's too much to ask. The response shouldn't be, oh, but the response should not be, what were you wearing that he noticed you? The response should not be, you shouldn't say anything, don't bring too much attention to yourself, because then the girl is silent, she stays silent, and this happens again to the next person and to someone else and to someone else, and nothing is done. It's a cycle, it's a culture that has been allowed, a culture of silence that has been encouraged, so to speak, and that's why this issue is still ongoing, because no one spoke up initially. I think it's time for us to speak up. I'm very happy that we're having these conversations. These are the conversations I think that we should have as a society, and I would like to hear your thoughts and opinions about how we can fix this issue in our society, and what can be done, what role can we all play to ensure that our girls and our sisters, our aunties, our moms are protected wherever they go. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I really hope I've been able to share my thoughts and I really hope I've been able to share my thoughts and opinions in a concise way. It's something I'm very passionate about, and I feel that we can do so much better as a society, and I'm willing to do my part. Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and most of all subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in my other video.